The next thing is that for you to be able to start to resolve what you are seeing here as your open plazas, like I can see from this point, from where it ends to where it starts over there, I can just click anywhere on the surface, hit my direction keys to try and get it moving vertically, and then just touch it to a point or a surface that I can see over there, and then I look down over here to see what the difference is. So I can see from this end to this end is about 5 meters. 5 meters is huge. So ideally, like my it's almost like going down by 1 floor, or that's a little more, 1.5 floors if I'm walking from this end to this end. So either I'm going to raise this face over here, or I'm going to break it into 2 or 3 levels of where I'm starting at a higher level, and then I get down to an intermediate level, and then I move on to the 3rd level, and from the 3rd level I get down to the 4th level. So I break it down into for 5 meters I break it down into 4 levels of 1.25, 1.25, 1.25, 1.25, and then 1.25 I know if I take by the number of steps is about 8 or 9 steps. So that means that I can use this space and create about 4 different platforms with different profiles, and access from one platform to another platform is going to be at a difference of 1.25 meters, which would mean that I would require a minimum of what, 8 steps. Is it 8 steps? Yeah, around 8 steps. So it becomes easy for me to deal with, and this I can use again by going back onto my sketch or my AutoCAD. It doesn't quite matter which one do you use. You can use your AutoCAD as well. But I can just get onto my AutoCAD, and I know that I have to break this space to at least into 3 or 4 parts for me to be able to deal with the levels. So I'd say that this initial portion becomes level 1, this portion over here becomes level 2, this portion here becomes level 3, and this final bit over here becomes level 4, and then I can decide if I'm using this entire width for the steps, or I'm creating some steps that come along the side. How am I planning to deal with this step down, how am I planning to deal with this step down, and that way I begin to start designing my individual spaces as well. So either I do it on CAD, and then I take that information back and I take it to SketchUp and I do the drape again, or I do it on a sketch where I make a lot more sense out of it. I make a lot more sense out of it by just using my hands and trying and seeing what these levels are. What am I getting from these kinds of levels? What can I use each of these individual levels for, and carry it? And then once I do the drape command function, I can just use those lines and raise these levels easily and adjust the entire model to that. So whatever it is that I've given as the this method, I've outlined on the notepad file also. That once I use my drape function, I create my building masses, I get a sense of the contours, I go back onto that, I figure out what my ground floor level now is going to be. Levels become very key when you're trying to work with contoured sites, so you need to find some kind of feedback method of seeing it how it's looking in the model, and then going back onto your SketchUp and drafting, and then exporting views. The second thing also that I think your SketchUp now is going to give you a lot of help for is in terms of understanding the scales of space. So for this, all I need to do is drop a person, which over here in components I can go to component sampler, which gives me the ones that are there automatically in the library. I can scroll through and look for Chris, and I place Chris over there. And what this now allows me to do, you guys remember the function that I had of placing a person at eye height. So I place the person at eye height, and this is the general scale of the space that I have designed. So this is what I'd have to rationalize now. In case I want to fix this view and say I don't want to give this ground floor, or that I lift this building entirely by a floor above, I'm also free to do that, to try and think about what my connection is going to be through this. Of course, in this case, I think the main idea was about connecting to the water body that we were planning to include over here. But this scene is different.